Things just took a turn in oil country as the Edmonton Oilers defeat the Los Angeles Kings 4-3 last night in overtime to even up the series at 2 games apiece. They say you're never in trouble until you lose at home, and the Oilers did the opposite of that, and they kept themselves alive in this one. All that more today on Oilers Digest as we try to unpack what happened last night. I know after sitting on it for a while, I am still buzzing from that huge win that, could hopefully swing the momentum in Edmonton's way. But 75% of you have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you're new here, if you're loving what the Oilers are bringing to the table in these past 2 games, make sure you hit that subscribe button for any and all Oiler news. Maybe a sign of things to come when the Oilers take that momentum in, go all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Again, I know beggars cannot be choosers, but with the way this team is playing, the never give up attitude, you never know. But without further ado, let's get into last night's game with the power of German engineering. Leon Draisaitl, he's not looking 100%, but he's still giving it his all last night as the Edmonton Oilers defeat the LA Kings 4-3 in overtime, again to tie the series up at 2. Just taking a look at the scoring summary here. The Kings open it up. Trevor Moore there beating Cal Pickard 5-hole. Clean 5-hole, I should say. A lot of miscues on the Edmonton defense there, especially from Darnell Nurse. Has had a fantastic regular season and then just kind of, shrivels up in the playoffs when it starts to matter. But Trevor Moore making it 1-0 Kings. And then Warren Foegele off of a very questionable goal, I should say, from Philip Deneau there. Bouchard and Nurse, just kind of letting him through. But you can see there, Foegele kind of pushed Cal Pickard's pad out of the way and jammed the puck loose. And Elliot Friedman, on the panel said he 100% should have challenged that, but with the way the challenges have been going for both teams in this one, Jim Hiller with his questionable challenge on the goal interference and Kris Knoblauch challenging the puck over glass, you never know what could have happened. And Kris Knoblauch, I think, did not want to risk that whatsoever. Normally it's the video coach above that gives him the go-ahead, and there was nothing. So you take and you can get with the Oilers and Kings. But just going back here, Corey Perry, the worm, the old man worm that Corey Perry is, almost 40 years of age, but still showing the nifty mittens in front of Darcy Kemper, making it 2-1 Oilers. But Kevin Fiala put that hope nearly to rest there, making it 3-1 Kings, beating Cal Pickard on a very unfortunate breakaway given up. But what, Cal Pickard, you can't fault him too much on breakaways. Evan Bouchard, Bouch giveth, Bouch taketh away in from 0 to hero, tying the game up there, making it 3-3 going into overtime. The Oilers and Kings both very evenly matched when it comes to their playoff overtime record, but the Oilers all over the Los Angeles Kings, with 12 minutes to go in the third and going into overtime, just swarming them, rush after rush, one after another. And Vladislav Gavrikov took a tripping penalty, and the Oilers made the Kings pay there with Leon Draisaitl's first ever career overtime winner, this deep into his career, and how many deep runs the Oilers have had over the years. It's kind of shocking that he scored his first career playoff goal. It's even more shocking that I do believe Alex Ovechkin also scored his first career overtime playoff winner. So first time for everything there. But Leon Draisaitl off of a failed clear there from, I do believe it was Mikey Anderson, found Leon Draisaitl's tape, almost gave Mikey Anderson a primary assist there. But Leon Draisaitl, the power of German engineering, Das Wunderkind, we're calling him, but he's the playoff hero. And he was asked where that ranks on his list of career goals. He said, I would put it number 1. It's probably the most important goal to date that I've scored in my career. So hopefully there's a couple more to come that are even more important, but I'll take that for now, how humble he is. Shots on goal 48-41 in favor of the Oilers. This one went deep into overtime, so the stats, not normal compared to, just a regular run-of-the-mill game that these two teams have had there. But hits 53-44, bodies were flying. Face-offs won 40-34 in favor of the Kings, but the special teams made the difference last night for these two teams. The LA Kings not scoring on any one of their power plays. Meanwhile, the Oilers going 2 for 3, one of which was that all-important overtime winner there by Leon Draisaitl. And you can see the domination the Oilers put over onto the LA Kings. 12:09 left in the third. Shots on goal 31-21, 3-1 LA. We all thought they were going to try to at bat on their lead, but you cannot do that against these Edmonton Oilers, the cardiac comeback kids. When, the shots on goal at the end of the game, 49-41. So in that span, Edmonton outshooting them by an incredible ratio. And the 3 stars, Evan Bouchard -1, but still 2 goals on the night, 35 minutes and 54 seconds, so almost 36 minutes played. And then Leon Draisaitl, 4-point night. 3rd star of the game. I would have thought he'd be the 2nd star of the game. I don't know why Philip Deneau is the 2nd star, but you know what? They don't ask me about that whatsoever. Normally, that is a good thing. But Bouchard in Draisaitl. Bouch, of course, the national televised audience got to see, the highs and lows of Bouch's game. The highs are the highs are high and the lows are low. But at this point, Evan Bouchard, he's got his faults in the defensive zone, but he more than makes up for it with his stellar play in the O zone there. Sure, sometimes, his gaffes at the blue line, they burn the Oilers. We saw it burn the team once last night, but Evan Bouchard, he is a one-of-a-kind player, 1 in a million. If the Oilers, let him walk, I mean, that would just be the stupidest decision ever. He is all-important to this Oiler team. When it comes to, Evan Bouchard and just, his mindset, says, I think it's the no-quit belief we have in here. I think, like Leo said, another one of Draisaitl's quotes, we were keeping things simple. We were, playing fast, getting in on the forecheck, so that all in the 3rd period, in the overtime, just, swarming the LA Kings. And we went to work in the 3rd period. The team's been doing a good job getting shooting lanes, getting in the way of shooting lanes, I should say. We were working them, and we kept the puck in. We won 50-50 battles. When that puck came up, I knew I just had to hit the net and give us a chance to get the rebound if there was one. And Evan Bouchard, off of a failed clear from Quinton Byfield there, made Byfield and the rest of the LA Kings pay on that game-tying goal there. And when it comes to Evan Bouchard, and just how irreplaceable he is, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs, from Cam Robbins here of Elite Prospects, highest points per game rates in the NHL playoffs by a defenseman all time, minimum 50 games played. Bobby Orr at 1.24 points per game, and Evan Bouchard 1.14. And I know back in the 60s and 70s, many Bruins fans and hockey fans alike probably criticized Bobby Orr for not playing defense, but sometimes the best defense is a great offense, and that is exactly what these two have been doing in crunch time there. The only thing Evan Bouchard's missing is just a Norris Trophy, but I don't think he'll ever get one of those Norris Trophies, too much emphasis on, the two-way play. But Evan Bouchard, just very, very important to the Edmonton Oilers, and just, how important he steps his game up in the Cup Finals, especially in the O Zone anyway. I mean, the D Zone, we can have a conversation about that any day of the week, how, it's not necessarily his strong suit, but again, I'm just regurgitating things I've already told you before. I love Evan Bouchard, but at the same time, I want to strangle him when he makes a really dumb move in the D zone there when it comes to his coverage. But when it comes to Bouchard and his deployment with Darnell Nurse, like I said, Darnell Nurse fantastic in the regular season. In the playoffs, not so much from Matthew Panchishin here. Bouchard with Nurse for 8 minutes played, 34.5 expected goal share, 3 goals against and no goals for, and 4 scoring chances for and 5 scoring chances against. Meanwhile, if you put Bouch with a guy like Jake Wallman or Brett Kulak at 19 minutes played, 83.9, so almost 84% expected goal share, 1 goals for, and then only 1 scoring chance against with 14 scoring chances for. And he added on, Edmonton moved Nurse off of Bouchard's pairing in the 3rd and OT, and it won them the game. And that is an understatement for the century, putting, Bouchard with a guy that, is more strong suited to, I don't want to say holding his hand here, but just giving a much better suited D partner is what the Oilers need to do full time, instead of putting Nurse, who is very shaky in the playoffs. We all saw last year with him in Cody Ceci, but hopefully Nurse can find another switch here later on in the series. Just taking a look at the hockey stat chart here, the notable suspects here at the top. You got guys like Leon Draisaitl, Brett Kulak had a very strong game there. Connor McDavid, Captain Connor McDavid, fantastic game. Jake Wallman, great game. Corey Perry, another strong game. I could go on and on here. John Klingberg still, finding some gas in the tank there. I don't want to say old age, but, the prime veteran that John Klingberg is, he is finding yet another step. You can see in the middle there, Evan Bouchard, the highs are high and the lows are low, like I did say. So the defensive game, not really much home to read about, but when he needs, when you need him to be sharp offensively, that is exactly what he does. And then Darnell Nurse, again, a poor game, but I've already said that 5 different ways this video, so hopefully he can turn it on in Game 5. And Cal Pickard, I mean, what's one of my videos without, giving a nod to fantastic goaltending? I mean, I've, complained about goaltending time and time again, but Cal Pickard with a 927, some key stops there during the game, the first, second, third, in overtime, all of those periods had some key moments there by Cal Pickard to keep the Oilers in this one. He had a fantastic stop on Warren Foegele in overtime there, and that led to the Oilers, just trying to maintain and sustain the pressure in the King zone there. And talking about sustaining pressure, I mean, when it comes to the natural stat trick chart here, the first and second periods, you can see, very evenly matched between these two teams in the first period, and then in the second period, again, the Kings trying to sit back on their lead, and the Oilers dominating them in every sense of the word. 113 shot attempts at all even strengths, they're not just 5-on-5, but also on the power play combined there. 113 compared to LA 74. The high danger chances for 21-14, so a 2-to-1 ratio for the high danger chances for. I'd like to, cut back a little on the high danger chances against, but beggars again cannot be choosers. But a fantastic game all around there by the Oilers. It looks like the Kings are going to escape with a stolen win there by Darcy Kemper, but the Oilers just found a way to get it done there. Just taking a look at the Kings and just more coaching gaffes here from Jim Hiller. Not just the challenge the other night, but just his deployment of forwards there. You can see 3 forwards all under 6 minutes time on ice. Meanwhile, you got guys like Quentin Byfield playing 29 minutes. Philip Deneau, 27-49. A whole bunch of guys at 25 and up there, essentially playing with 9 forwards. That's going to gas your team very quickly, especially when it goes deep into overtime. And the Oilers capitalized not just on the tired Kings forwards, but also on their tired defensemen there. They were essentially just running 4 defensemen all night with Mikey Anderson, Drew Doughty, Vladdy Gavrikov, and Joel Edmondson there, with Brandt Clark only playing 12 minutes, and Jacob Rovrar only playing a very measly 2 minutes and 26 seconds, not to mention Darcy Kemper with his 9:17, but heavily outplayed there at the other end. I don't want to say heavily outplayed, just outplayed at the other end. The key guy making key stops with Cal Pickard, and that is exactly what the Oilers needed. They don't need great, they don't need fantastic, they just need someone who can make key stops at key times, and that is exactly what Cal Pickard did last night. But I have no idea what Jim Hiller and the rest of the LA coaching staff is doing with these deployments there. Meanwhile, the Oilers, spreading out while they can, and that helps you in a long series. Multiple experts said, in a long series, this would favor the Edmonton Oilers. So the Kings really needed to win last night to wrap this one up. And, speaking of trying to wrap this one up, folks, California, here we come when the Oilers in Kings battle in Game 5 tomorrow night. Not too much rest for these two teams, but the Oilers will try to capitalize on, the one day in between there. But Connor McDavid, in the way the Oilers are playing right now, and, there's always things to improve on. He said, I would like to have a better start. I don't want to have to keep digging ourselves out of 2, 3, or 4 goal leads, but it is good that we've shown them that we can. We're a tough group to close out in games. We've got some good players that make plays coming down the stretch. We've got a strong belief in here. We have a strong belief that we're never out. People keep doubting us, and we keep putting ourselves in bad spots, but we're digging our way out, trying to find ways to win games. Obviously, we found a way tonight. Not the recipe to success, but I'm proud of everyone how we found a way tonight, not just, on the score sheet, but again, the special teams, the Oilers special teams, like I mentioned, was a big storyline heading into game number 4 last night. The Oilers PK going a perfect 3 for 3. Meanwhile, they couldn't go perfect 3 for 3 on the power play as well, but 2 goals, which were the difference maker in this one last night. Really, only one was the difference maker, but for the Oilers, not just McDavid, but also Draisaitl giving his thoughts on the whole team identity, the never say die attitude. That's our identity in here. We built that years ago, so it's not just a 1 year only thing. It's McDavid and Draisaitl and other guys like Hyman, Nuge, so on and so forth. It's a mentality that we have that we're never going to quit, no matter what. We've shown that in the series so far, maybe a little bit too much we got to find a way to play with a lead. It shows a lot of character, and we can be really proud of that, but you don't want to do that every night. And they will need a lead early as the Oilers in Kings go back to the dungeon in Los Angeles, a place that has not favored the Oilers too much this year. Oilers, Kings, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Mountain, there in a pivotal Game 5. You know, the winner of this may as well go on to take the whole series. That's just how it is. You know, momentum can swing one way or the other, but right now the Oilers look to have all the momentum, and they planted the seed of doubt into LA's heads. Like, hey, we just cannot beat these guys year after year after year after year, and it's almost starting to feel like, you know, we're on the opposite side there, you know, with Dallas and Edmonton in the late 90s and the early 2000s, you know, keep matching up with these guys, but just cannot find a way to crack them. So the mentality for the Oilers and Kings, it's starting to look a little bit different after Game 2. Oiler fans are starting to wonder if this was the year that, hey, the Kings would finally slay that dragon. Meanwhile, after, you know, Game 4, the Kings fans were trying to say, hey, we just cannot beat these guys. But that's the beauty of playoff hockey. You never really know what is going to happen. But let me know down in the comments what you thought about last night's fantastic game. I loved every second of it, even if the Oilers lost. You know, still down 3-1 going back to LA, there was always a chance that never say die attitude would be working in their favor, but the Oilers got the job done, and that's all we needed them to do. But again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so for any and all Oiler content. And folks, have a great rest of your Monday. I know Mondays aren't exactly, you know, the greatest day of the week, but they're always much better after an Oiler win. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. I'm Matt.